Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm Prismalin, and today we're continuing on with some MoonLighter. So, I guess we're going straight into our buying phase and seeing what we can actually get. That is the first thing I need to do. So let's see what is affordable. I think we can buy armor and finally actually have a full set. At least that is the hope. And we do. Oh, finally. Yes, forge, my friend. Forge it. Remove from wish list, add to wish list. Cool. Now, technically, I can start forging the rest of the armor stuff if I want to, because I might have some of the things. Already got those, don't I? Go on those. Cool. We can now move on to other weapons and other aspects that I kind of need to start making up. And you know what? We'll worry about that later. That'll be like something like a subtask. We'll figure out what we'll end up doing. And let's read this. Town shop. What can we upgrade? What can we get in? Ah, I got a request later in the day. Oh, fine. Fine game. Fine. Yeah, give me the sale bin, please, and we'll do that other one as well. And I have to wait until I can actually unlock all those. Cool. Okay, so we've got some good money left over. How are we all doing? I have been chilling out for most of the day. Feel a lot better in myself, which is an absolute godsend, to be honest, because, I don't know, just been a bit off for quite a while, you know? Now, I could do enchantments. And start, actually getting, extra armor and stuff on these things as well, which is probably what I'm gonna do. Just because, why not, right? That way my armor is a lot more effective. Do the same, so I don't have enough gold for that. Could do the same thing to the broom. If I put my I believe my actual shield and my sword shield are in here somewhere, in a very particular place where I've got them confused with which one is the better one. So let's see. No, it's just training one, isn't it? No, I was right. I got the right one. Cool. So we got a lot of stuff we can sell now. I've been stockpiling up on useless rubbish and, yeah. I had too many. But let's go dungeon diving, see what we can get. Yeah, I was making food earlier and, I made Thai green curry, which was nice, but I don't know, I didn't feel satisfied with it, you know? It tasted alright. I think it was just the consistency was a little bit off, if you know what I mean. It just didn't quite satisfy my needs. But no idea, you know, I do stupid stuff all the time. It's, I whinge, I moan, I cry. But it is what it is. But I kind of want to cook some interesting stuff, which is on my list of stuff to do at the moment. So the problem is, whenever I want to do any cooking or stuff, I mainly want to cook desserts. Desserts have way too many calories in them, and you know, I will eat a whole cake to myself after making it. I have no shame. I probably should do, though. So, with our dungeon escapades, we are trying to go right down to the bottom if we can. That is the plan. I did make a mistake of not actually emptying out my inventory, which is kind of my own fault, but you know. We'll deal with that when we come to it, right? We'll deal with that when we come to it. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of plans sorted. I'm going to be extremely busy for the next, like, rest of the week, so this is my relaxation. Which is nice. Although I would rather, I'd rather have some time to myself, but, yeah. I booked it off because it was more just to have something at the end of some time with the family. To be like, ah, yeah, I can just now relax and not have to worry about anything. But now it's become a little bit more kind of like, I still got lots of stuff to do, am I going to do it, is it worth me doing it, you know, that stuff. Nice. I guess we'll just get rid of that, because it's not worthwhile. That as well. And these. Actually, no, you can stack those. Why have you not stacked properly? And then those, because I actually got a stack of the other ones. Let's go down the dungeon. Yeah, I mean, I really do like food. I like food way too much, which is kind of a problem in itself, you know. And I find that I enjoy cooking for other people more than I do cooking for myself, right? Which is not like a bad thing, it's just... It does mean when I cook for myself, I can get like really lazy about it. Which happens quite a lot, you know? Does it take just those? Yeah, that's fine. Like, nothing else is actually anything I need at the moment. I guess I probably should, check all this stuff to be sold for small amounts of money. 'Cause that's what I need, right? Teeny tiny pieces of cash. So this is the point where we might actually end up using the other side of what I've got available to use, yeah? So what I mean by that, I've got, cool, that's been done. Ooh, stuff that can take curses off things. Interesting. But I don't really care. You know? I generally just do not care. Although, saying that, we can actually see what these things are. I mean, we can stack them if we want to. Cool. But yeah, like, I mean, I enjoy cooking quite a lot, and I will tend to try and whip up something even if I have nothing in the fridge. My kind of my speciality when it comes to cooking stuff is mainly curries and stuff. I've got like literally a huge spice cupboard just full of weird and wonderful spices that probably some people have never even heard of. And even I don't even hear of, but you know, a recipe that I've decided to copy has decided to use this particular one, and I'm like, okay, guess I'm using it. Oh, that happens way too much. It's like silly, you know? But no, I've always enjoyed cooking. It was something that did quite a lot with my nan when I was younger. And even to this day, I will still enjoy cooking. As to why I cook, it's mainly just because, like, I don't know. I guess it comes back to the fact that I was an extremely fussy kid with food. Like, I mean unbelievably fussy, bless my mother's heart. Which, you know, there wasn't anything wrong with the food that I was being supplied with, but I still am, have a massive issue with texture of food. So what I mean when I say like the texture of things is like it kind of like the way it feels when you eat it, right? If it feels off, then you know I don't want no nothing with that. Like it's not something I'm gonna sit there and enjoy eating if the texture just feels weird, you know? Gives me the heebie-jeebies and all that. But other than that, like I'll eat most things. So, a good example is mashed potato. I am not a fan of mashed potato in any way, shape, or form. This did extend to other forms of potato as well, so it wasn't just mashed potato. But yeah, it started off with just mashed potato and then kind of extended itself to things like baked potato as well, because the consistency could be very similar in some cases. It wasn't to say people made bad mashed potato, it was just I had a bad experience with it as a kid. Because I was a fussy kid, you know, parents try and not force you, but try and make you eat food as such, and it didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. Instead, I got trauma from mashed potato. Like, it seems really weird, but at one point I genuinely was not able to stay in the same room as it. It just did not make me feel comfortable. Oh, cool. Oh, no. Take everything there, pop that back, and then we're done, right? Cool. Nice. So, yeah, that was a very extremely uncomfortable situation. For both my mum and for everyone else, because it meant the fact that then, like, as a kid that wouldn't eat anything that was related to those sorts of foods, I would either have to have separated food, or I would end up having, like, you know, not eating was the other option, which, you know, doesn't go down very well when your child is not eating. But I got over it eventually. Wasn't in the way that most people think of, just like, oh yeah, you know, just eat it, you know, force yourself, stuff like that. No, I still don't eat it now. I'm an adult, and you know, I'm a big boy now, and I still don't eat it whatsoever if I can avoid it, you know. Just because I don't enjoy it, it's not something that I find satisfying, shall we say, right? 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. But yeah, it's it is a kind of really big thing with me, texture of foods. Between that, at the time, as being a kid, I was not a fan of stuff mixing. So we've all had it, you know. You have your chips and You have your vegetables. Normally, with the vegetables that go along with your chips is, in most cases, it is a stack of peas. And I will say this now: peas do not belong next to chips. Mainly because what ends up happening is, like, if the peas aren't properly strained and the water doesn't get, like, the moisture isn't taken out of the peas, then it just drips into everything else, and then, you know, unfortunately, chips will absorb that moisture, which does not make them taste very nice anymore. At least in my opinion. You know. We can argue about it until the cows come home, but genuinely, that is exactly the issue I had with it, right? We're just going to get rid of all the fragile icons if we can. Yeah, turning those into that. We can stack these so that we can do that. We can stack those. So yeah, it was it wasn't a very pleasant experience for me. And I kind of I learned after a while that, you know, I needed to have certain types of food, so I would get it in my food some other way, because what ended up happening is we have an argument, and my parents, my mum, go, well, if you're not going to cook, you're not going to eat what I eat, cook for yourself. So I did. She didn't say it in a malicious way, it was more just like she was really fed up with trying to feed a spoiled brat. Which, you know, I can understand. But God bless my nan, if it wasn't for her, I probably would still be a spoiled brat to this day, you know? So I learned how to incorporate foods and make textures, or make them almost invisible so I wouldn't know. So a big thing at one point was mushrooms and onions. Like, I wouldn't want big chunky mushrooms, so I would dice them to a small enough size where, one, I wouldn't notice them, and two, the texture was indistinguishable between everything else in the sauce. Which, if you end up having kids and stuff that end up being like a bit, you know, have issues with their food, I think it's a great way to get them to eat other things. I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, yeah, okay, sometimes that might take a bit of extra prep work in regards to meals and stuff, but generally I don't see the issue with taking that bit of extra care and attention to making sure that what they need to grow and develop is actually within the food, but in a way that they don't know it's in there, right? So I spent a lot of time doing that, right? Oh, come on, really? So it seems kind of very petty, that's kind of what I ended up doing, but, you know, I needed to eat food, and this was a good compromise for me and my mother at the time. But then it's hilarious, because that meant that I did a lot of research into different types of food, and, you know, what I could cook with the same ingredients. Because, you know, that's what you do, right? And then I kind of then made other dishes that were basically variants of what we had as ingredients, but with different styles and stuff. You know, as I used to say, it's like I would hate a shepherd's pie because it had mashed potato on the top and the texture would just feel weird to me, right? So I turned a shepherd's pie into, like, other stuff, like I'll sit there and eat a roast dinner, you know? Okay, yes, it's not quite a shepherd's pie, but the base ingredients and all the nutrition value are the same. Wasn't probably the nicest thing to sometimes do, but I stand by it. I think it's more applicable in my case to be like that, you know. Because why would I end up forcing myself to try and eat food that I wasn't going to eat in the first place, right? Like, because what is the point of that, right? Ah. I did not know I could do that. Oh, that's gonna save so much more time. I learned something new in a game that I have probably spent way too many hours on already. Oh, that's hilarious. Don't blame me, I can have blonde moments. I'm allowed to have them. You know, I did have blonde hair as a child. Not quite so much now, you know, growing up tends to change that. But yeah, like, so growing up and cooking for myself, I used to do a lot of stuff. And it was one of the things in my kind of university that a lot of people looked at me and were like, you know, how can you turn meals into, like, what I did? Again, I just like eating food. Like, I would cook whatever I could get my hands on. Yes, okay, they weren't, like, extravagant meals and stuff, but they don't have to be, right? It's got to be edible. That is the main thing. But it is kind of surprising, though, on just, like, how many people these days either don't know how to cook or don't wish to know how to cook, right? Like, I moan about it, like, quite a lot, that, to make meals, like, homemade meals, doesn't actually cost as much as people think it does, right? In most cases, the real issue is time. Yeah? It can take too much time to set up those meals to go, okay, yeah, I need to be able to make this up, and so on and so forth. It's got nothing to do with anything else. I'm just going to chuck all this in there. I'd rather have the gold immediately right now. Okay. Okay, so we got the gooey guy after us at the moment. Or at least he will be soon. So we got to make sure we move. Move pretty fast. I have pretty much scoured this entire floor. Come on. Don't do this to me. Oh yeah. Just this one enemy is always a pain in my backside. Like, I just need to get through this door, right? There we go. Let's go. The Golden King. Taking way too many hits already. Okay, so that's random. That's great. But yeah, I've been enjoying cooking like ever since then. But mainly because like it's the satisfaction I get from Okay, so we're gonna have a great time now, aren't we? And we took hits there. I tried my best. Probably should have shuffled some of the stuff up to the top. But yeah, okay. We did what we could. We will try and face that golem again at some point in the future. Let's go back to town. And maybe we'll start selling stuff that we can. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just so much you can do with food and everything else as well. Plus the experimenting is kind of important as well. Like the ability to mess around with the food that you have to try and get the most out of it. Let's upgrade the town, shall we? Can't buy him, but we can get him. As it is the daytime. So I might just need to set myself with like more potions and stuff and just like get to that door and then leave and then come back with like just like upgradable potions or something that I just purchased. Interesting, that guy has some very fancy swagginess on the items. And we're just going to try and sell as much as we can for the day, and then we'll finish it. Keep the potions, because they're the things I want to keep. And let's open shop. Oh, we also have that bargain bin as well, but we shall not use the bargain bin. There's no point. But yeah, I tend to, when I'm making food, I tend to focus on like what I can do to make stuff taste good, right? And then I'll end up like using herbs, spices in a way that can kind of either enhance a dish or make the most out of what is available to you. Right? Because it's kind of a bit boring when you end up like making a really good dish and stuff like that, and it just doesn't, you know. And then like because of money constraints, you don't have the same ingredients as someone else, so it's knowing how to make substitutes and how to lessen other flavors while enhancing other ones with basically what you can find in your easy to access supermarket, and also then like how to manage dietary restrictions and stuff like that as well. That was always my favourite to get around it. Made them a few times because my mum was on a health kick at one point and decided that she didn't want to have gluten in her diet anymore. So I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough, you know, that's kind of sensible in a way, right? So as she was doing that, I decided, well, you know, you still want to have like your sweet things and stuff like that. Is there anything I can make? And one of the ones was I managed to get them some made up sweet potato brownies, which were really, really nice. I think they're highly underrated, if made correctly as well. And I tried some other experiments with making cakes in the past. One of my favorite ones was meant to be sort of a raspberry swirl cake, or a sort of raspberry custard swirl cake. And unfortunately, my layering with the cake and the batter and the mixture and stuff didn't go the way I wanted it to. Let's just say when I made up the batter and everything else and the cake mix, and then basically layered it on top, the jam went in, that went in, and everything else, the custard that I was putting through it was a little bit too heavy, which just basically meant that yeah, the cake didn't rise. There was just this giant gaping hole in it, which was yeah, very, very annoying. So at 1,000 you were too cheap. That was 500 at normal. That was 5,500. So what, like 5.2? So yeah, it was kind of a bit of a disaster. Like only presentation wise though, that's the thing. Like the taste of it came exactly as I wanted it to, and was really nice, and I completely enjoyed it. Which basically just changed this cake into like a knockoff Eton mess. Some of my other favorite ones, which I did like even when I was younger as well, was kind of like a fun version of a mud pie. You know, as a kid, like you turn around and start like making stuff in the mud, and you know, you call it a mud pie and stuff. I basically made the same thing and basically made chocolate pancakes with like a Angel Delight, if some people know that, like a chocolate Angel's Delight on that, but kind of had a mixture of coffee in it as well to give it like a bit of extra kick. You know, I was trying to be an adult a bit more and stuff. And then had basically like strawberries and raspberries and stuff, but keeping some of the kind of green leafage on top as well, like mint and stuff, just to kind of make it that kind of like grassy mud pie thing. Like, it tasted as good as it probably sounds. You know, it was nice. It wasn't like amazing or anything else as well, but the presentation was the thing you're going for on that. You wanted a kind of kiddie dessert that you could turn into, you know, something that was more presentable onto a high-class restaurant. At least that was the thing for, like, yeah, food DT stuff, right? But I enjoyed it, you know? But taking something like that simple and then, like, doing all the things, like, taking deconstructed desserts was always my favorite. Like, I was doing that before they were even in restaurants. You know, taking your apple pie and just basically, like, separating out all the ingredients. And the only reason I was doing that is because I was a fussy kid. Not because, like, I did it because I was fussy, but the idea came about because I was a fussy kid. Like, well, if I don't like this stuff touching this stuff, then why don't I just separate everything out and then do that? And then, yeah, that's how that wonderful idea came about. You know, and like the nice thing about like that sort of thing is that you can essentially set, like you can leave stuff on there and let people choose how much of things they want. That's like the more thing I got robbed as well. No, someone stole something. Terrible. I was distracted. Oh well. Better luck next time. But yeah, I did enjoy doing stuff like that, and that's what kind of like led to creativity around all sorts of other things I end up doing, where it's like I will think about stuff as a process and go, well, if I can do it with this, why can't I do it with that? and then apply that knowledge that I got from other areas into other things. And that's what it's just for a lot of people to do, is just mess around, have fun. Like, you don't fail, you learn something new. That's the main thing you always do when you don't succeed. But again, if you do enjoy these videos, do leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.